Hey everybody, welcome to another weekly quick tip videos, short videos with meaningful content to help you change your life. Hey, we're going to start another 3-part series today on the term imposter syndrome. Imposter syndrome is something that's been kicked around a little bit more lately. It's another way of saying I feel like a fraud. I feel like a fraud. I feel like people are going to expose me for who I really am. I feel like I'm wearing a mask and I'm trying to keep other people from seeing it. That would be the feeling of imposter syndrome. So here's what imposter syndrome is like. I think we've all experienced this. I want you to rewind. I want you to think back to middle school. And when you're in middle school, you're so self-conscious and you're growing and developing and you feel like everyone has a magnifying glass just staring right at you. Here's what we don't realize though when we're in middle school. Everybody feels that way. So I feel like everybody's watching me. Well, here's what's actually true. In middle school, everybody feels like everybody is watching them. Therefore, nobody is really watching anybody else because everyone is worried about everyone else watching them. It's kind of funny how that works when we think back, okay? So in middle school, we feel like we're an imposter. We want to be cool, but we don't feel cool, but we want everybody to accept us and think we're cool. Well, here's the truth. Oftentimes it doesn't get better in adulthood. We still struggle with this idea of imposter syndrome. I think imposter syndrome is rooted in perfectionism. Perfectionism is that idea that I should or I must or I ought to be something, okay? It's an unrealistic set of expectations that we place on ourselves that we anticipate other people also place on us. Okay, so when you feel that perfectionism start to take root, I should be this way, but I'm not that way. Or I ought to have it figured out, but I don't have it all figured out. That's when imposter syndrome kicks in. And the problem with perfectionism is that it doesn't account for growth. Life is all about growth. Okay, so when you start out in kindergarten, you don't know how to do trigonometry yet. Okay, well that comes later and you have to grow from year to year to year to be able to do that. So imposter syndrome, people who struggle with imposter syndrome, they think that kindergartners ought to be able to do trigonometry. Okay, maybe not literally, but they expect something much greater than themselves than is reasonable. Okay, so here's your simple tip for the day. I want you to be careful this week at how you expect yourself to be perfect. What areas do I expect perfectionism within myself? What areas do I maybe not show myself very much grace in? What areas do I anticipate that other people will expect me to be perfect in? And I want you to just start measuring that and realizing how often you do that, okay? So today's the first week of our imposter syndrome series. Look back, check back next week, and we will have another tip on how to deal with imposter syndrome in your everyday life. Hope this helps and hope you have a great week. I'll see you next week.